Right, welcome. Welcome, Sylvia.
Good morning, Milton Keynes.
Why Milton Keynes?
So that could be my new phrase.
Oh, like Good Morning Vietnam, but Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I thought localized. Well, I'm thinking about minorities, and no one gets mentioned from Milton Keynes, so they're the minority.
All right, fair enough. Milton Keynes is a shithole, by the way, for anyone wondering. But localized is not good because we're actually a global podcast. Would you like to run through some of the countries that we received listens from?
Good morning, Azerbaijan.
There you go. Good morning, Azerbaijan. So, number one country with 40% of listeners.
United Kingdom.
There you go. We're doing this Eurovision style. I can see how everyone's getting a little excited about what's coming. Yeah. Number two. Not going to be number two in Eurovision, I don't think, but number two.
Finland.
Oh, that's disappointing, really.
What, they're number two?
Yeah, because I think that's still boosted by people who know me from other contexts. Number three.
Starts to go a bit west. United States.
Yeah. About the United States, I had a business idea today, kind of. So, you know how Trump used to sell steaks? He used to sell, it was weird. You can still find this on YouTube. You can find his adverts. He was selling steaks at Sharper Image, which was this chain of stationery and paper and stuff. And he was selling steaks there. Whoa. The best steaks in the world, obviously. But he missed an opportunity there because I think now we could start a steak company selling to the Trump enthusiasts, and we would call it Deep Steak.
Deep Steak. Well, United States of America did that.
Yeah, but the deep state. Deep steaks.
Like the Deep South.
Sylvia's not a conspiracy-minded person. All the conspirators are always talking about the deep state, how it runs things. So I would call it the deep steak, and it would be a really thick cœur de filet.
Filet.
Called the deep steak.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not for everyone.
It might not float.
All right, what's number four?
Oh, Canada, the place I call my home.
Almost, I think that's it. And we have a lot of people from Canada, even though I haven't even done any content about hockey.
Canada.
Yeah, but we're real happy about all the Canadians.
We're east.
And number five, we'll round out the top five.
Australia.
Right, well done. Right. Really good accent. See, so it's all global, so don't be shouting out Milton Keynes like the worst shithole on the planet for no reason. And next, we would like to do emails. Do you want to read this one out, or shall I? We have actually some negative feedback. No, one is very well constructed and a very fair point, and I like this one. But there was someone who just said that I talk too slow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't know why. In civilian life, I don't. And when we're in the same room like this, I can be a quick processor of language and information. But when it's a remote episode, I tend to become very contemplative and really think about what the other person said and breathe easy and stuff.
That's the sort of thing that gets people into trouble, thinking things through before you speak.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you should never do that. Yeah, well, I'll try to be better at it, but maybe I can also learn how to use some kind of software that speeds me up.
Well, they could just listen to you times two, can't they?
But I think then the algorithms and stuff will react weirdly to this. Or how about just this? Just don't be in such a rush all the time. Take your time, breathe, read a book, listen to some sultry slow talking for a second. It's not that bad. All right, this one's really good. Initially, I thought I was excited that we got a message from a Korean or a Chinese person called Someone. But actually, I think this is just an alias called Someone, SUMWHAN, Someone. I get it. Very clever. This one goes like this. Hello, Talking Ass. I was interested to hear episode 9. The majority was very interesting, but I can't help notice that the first part of this had more recognition of the plight of Palestinian people and their experience. I can see that the Western left bugs you, and you definitely had a career you were specifically referring to. I wonder if the Palestinian flag, can people not hold both positions of working and promoting the work of a minority at said art gallery whilst also supporting a people displaced and facing their own tragedies? Not the worst, the biggest, or the greatest, but all the time they're all the time their own. Your guest is clearly a wonderful, compassionate, brave, and dynamic soul. I do worry that he found it so shocking to see people wearing a Palestine badge. Do we all need to sit and have a think about what it's like to be born a Palestinian? Because there's absolute diversity from being born... Adversity from being born on that side of the fence. So deep down, what are your own prejudices? Even if their life was not hard, do we displace others for our own needs? Secondly, some of the sensitivities were a bit on the nose. At one point you said, had family injured, killed, or whatever. I guess so, yeah. Are you going to read The Body Keeps the Score? This is mainly an email to evoke thought, and I hope it's received well. Well, it is received very well, and thank you, someone. I'll address these one at a time. First of all, yes, to have more conversation about the suffering on the other side and stuff. I mean, anyone who knows me personally, that's not a problem for me, and I know the problems on both sides of the fence fairly well. I just didn't think that it was mainly about Yoni's story, our guest in those episodes, and I didn't want to flood him and his time. We had limited time to sit down with him, and we got him twice for over an hour to talk through his side of the story, and I think it was interesting enough from his perspective that I didn't want to I think maybe another guest will be welcome who's more from that side of affairs, and be happy to talk about that. The other thing about me being insensitive, that's just my communication style. Like I will often say things and just move on without really giving them too much thought, but I can work on that too. And about the reading, The Body Keeps the Score seems like an interesting book, and I will read it. Maybe for some kind of book club for this podcast would be a good one. Any thoughts, Sylvia, about that email?
Well, I think you do recognise the Palestinian experience a bit more in the first one, anyway. And I guess, yeah, they mention the art gallery person that you talked about in that episode wearing a Palestinian flag whilst working at a art gallery about a Jewish experience. And I think you probably do know that people are diverse and can hold both positions.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, that was not the main point of that episode, and it's good if it evokes thoughts, and it should have been more balanced and all that. Good, because that means we can bring in another guest to talk about it from a different perspective, and I look forward to that. Also, speaking of bad feedback for me, I need a massive mea culpa. Do you know what that means?
No.
It's Latin for my bad.
Oh, yeah.
Or Latin for I'm a useless, fat, fucking illiterate moron. Yeah. Because several people have pointed out that the word in the previous episode that was released about the sphincter of Oddi dysfunction, the weird medical one, that the word that we were looking for is in fact spinster, not spinkster, that I repeated several times. Yeah. But first of all, I'm not perfect. Sometimes you just have a brain fart. I have known that word for, I don't remember when I didn't know that word.
Always calling women spinsters.
No, I'm not. Anyway, but during the episode, I figured out my error. And do you want to know? Do you want to know how manipulative and weird I am?
Yeah.
I actually put the last one at the end is on purpose, because I thought I have to keep this error in, otherwise it's dishonest, because I had remembered the correct word during the episode. But if I say it correctly now and I do some clever editing, I might edit out my own error. Yeah. And I thought that would be dishonest. So I said it incorrectly at the end on purpose, the third time. Yeah.
Then you're on a slippery slope if you edit everything.
No, I won't edit my own stupidities. As you might have heard in I think my previous bonus episode that was just me and my dog, I think that proves that I'm not going to edit anything out. So, we're gonna do a quick musical corner as well here, because every time Sylvia comes on, she's here to convince us to enjoy something that we didn't think would ever be enjoyable. For example, I hate musicals. I think they're unwatchable. There are some exceptions that I would call music.
Which ones?
Well, yeah, all right. I'll start with my sort of top 3 or top 5 that I can tolerate, and then we can go into yours, things that I should enjoy. There's a few exceptions, like musical movies that can be good. Like let's start with recent ones. The Queen one. It wasn't really a musical. It was more of a rock opera, but that guy did an amazing job as Freddie Mercury. What's his name? Rami Malek. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, that's a top one. Then there's a couple of Disneys where I think the songs are legitimately funny and they add to the story rather than just stop the movie and go into sing-song, which I hate. Aristocats, maybe. A couple of others. And then I can't even come up with a top 3 or top 5 right now. I'll go bottom experience, I think. The Lion King, going to see it. Not the movies. I saw them as a child. I think they were okay. But going to see it as a musical in London was the worst purchase I've made in my life. Like, unbelievably expensive and unbelievably shit. They, instead of having these lovely cartoon animals singing Elton John and Paul Simon songs, they just had this, like, other people singing bad cover versions of them, and they weren't even lions. They were like, one lady was holding like a cardboard lion's head, and that meant she was the lion in it. It was just awful, unwatchable. So tell me, convince me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you're an idiot for not liking The Lion King, and there's something inherently unhinged in your cognitive capacity if you don't like or appreciate that live.
This is what I thought about fantasy and sci-fi when I was at Cambridge. Everyone around me, I got this syndrome where I thought, am I missing something? Every smart person in the room is really into fantasy and all this. And I thought the Lord of the Rings was unwatchable. It was just people walking and then a black screen and you think it's going to be over, but they just wake the movie back up from the dead and they're still walking. And there's some like fiery vagina in the sky that they're all walking towards. I always thought that maybe there's something wrong with me, that I don't like fantasy. But actually, maybe there's just something right with me.
I just think you need to unleash the joy. Because these are, most of the time, like the classics are hugely skilled and catchy. Oh my God, yeah. Sound of Music, for example, just remembered.
All right, what's a good song from The Sound of Music?
Well, I could name about 5. Edelweiss.
Edelweiss is not from The Sound of Music.
It is in The Sound of Music.
Okay.
So Long Farewell. So Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Sound of Music, the song.
Okay. But can I just say something about that? Yeah, all right, they're fun songs. I know that song, Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. But here's the thing.
What is that?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.
You know, you have to pronounce
Julie
it like...
Andrews sings like that.
Is she not a German? If she was a true German, she would say Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, sure, good songs, but the thing is, they're not like musicals. They're meant to, they have like a plot, they say.
Yeah, there's a big plot in that.
And a story, but then they just stop for 15 minutes. Every 5 minutes of dialogue, I have to take an 8-minute break to listen to like a weird song.
That's my criticism of like some of the more niche or deeper level of musical, because they do end up being like just about cleaning your cupboard or something, or you know, oh yes, we will go to the shop, gonna sing a song about almost going to the shop, but it's like, just get to the freaking shop. But in certain ones, they're amazing. Like The Red Shoes is a classic. That's got lots of ballet in it. She's in a ballet. The character is in a ballet and putting on the shoes and then turning a bit badass. And then also in the real film you're watching, she's starting to go a bit funny as well because of it. And that's amazing. And Singing in the Rain, that's all about like a production company. And there's a romance in it, but also it's the first film with sound.
Wait, which film is the first film with sound?
In the film, Singing in the Rain, they are making the first picture with sound.
I see.
And
that's an interesting enough plot for me.
No, listen, more. The thing is, the character who is the screen actress, big screen actress, Hollywood actress, has got an awful voice. So they have to use this lovely girl to sing behind in the background to have it recorded over and use her voice. But they've got classic songs. I mean, Singing in the Rain is huge, isn't it? Yes.
I guess so.
It is.
So can you give us a quick top 5 that have to see it, otherwise you're uncultured, unworthy of polite society?
The Red Shoes, Singing in the Rain, Sound of Music, Oliver, and so either We Will Rock You, because that was great, Book of Mormon, or The King and I.
Okay. That was more than 5, but we'll let you off on that. I think I have seen most of those and not enjoyed them. The Book of Mormon, for example, I think the South Park guys...
You haven't seen it?
Just writing them all out as jokes.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. I've seen the book.
Have you?
The Book of Mormon.
Live?
Yes.
Oh.
And I would say if the South Park guys just gave me an hour and a half of their jokes, I'd have more fun. That's all. It's all relative, I think.
Do you know what is bad? Local community pantomimes and plays.
I'm shocked.
They are terrible.
Okay, fair. What do we have to look forward to this week? Do you know who's on? Pull out the calendar. What do we have?
You have a business adventure.
Yeah, it's
Adventurist.
It's Mike from eView. Yeah,
Eastern Europe.
That's coming out on Sunday.
Yeah, and then the following one, you've got Autism, ADHD, and Crisis in Special Education with Will Farr.
Yeah, that was an interesting chat. Yeah, for these, I always haven't corrected my talking quicker.
Please don't.
Please speak quickly. Yeah.
You do speak quite quickly, but I think you were very polite and careful initially. You're probably loosening up, Lucy.
Yeah, loosey-goosey. Yeah. Loosening up my sphincter of...
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go.
It's not funny.
What did you think of that episode?
I just know, the NHS is in a crisis, and it just feels terrible. But she was so good at holding, joy, finding the positive and creating a little... I mean, it's lovely to hear about the mischief that she was talking about getting up to with the other people on the ward and stuff.
Yeah, and it's not the last medical thing. We got a schizophrenic next.
Please don't say it like that. We've got an episode
with
someone who's diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Full-on schizo, yeah.
Please don't say that.
Sorry. All right.
I'm interested in the representation of women in mental health, how the language going back to medieval, lunacy is about the moon, lunatic, and people going mad around the moon. Oh, what else? There's another one.
Well, that's hysteria.
Hysterical woman, yeah, hysteria.
Well, we'll see where we go with that chat. It hasn't been recorded yet, so that's good to know now. Anyway, you have a public service announcement?
Yes. Get a wooden toilet seat, because in the winter, toilet seats get very cold and wooden ones don't get as cold on your bottom.
Awesome. Again, top public service announcement. And me have a public service announcement by Deep Steak. The juiciest cœur de filet. Available only at southern retailers like Buc-ee's in Texas. All right. See you again.
And say your prayers.